If you do go on to enjoy today's video, please consider liking it because I'm terrible at FIFA and I need all the self-esteem I can get. If you're interested in football shirts, football boots or anything football related, go check out my Depop. The link for that is also down below. If you do need any coins, head over to u7buystore.com. Use the code TVM at checkout for a discount. The link is in the description. What's going on, guys? Timmy here. Welcome back to a brand new day of Brentford, building Brentford. As you can see at the very top, we are 9th in the Premier League, which I guess kind of explains a lot. We're falling away. We are not doing too well. To be fair, we've played a lot of difficult games. We've got the reverse of the beginning fixtures. So last we left off, we drew 2-2 against Crystal Palace. The sort of defending system was in its infancy. I abandoned that quite quickly, I won't lie to you. I used it against Wolves. 2-2 wasn't too bad. Then I played a different system against Watford. We beat them 3-0. Then, apart from Norwich and Everton, to be fair, every single game there, again, apart from Burnley, like league game, every league game, we probably should be on the losing end of, because even though at the beginning we got a point against Liverpool, we beat Man United and so on, we're not really meant to be beating these teams. So when we lost to West Ham, we're overachieving and West Ham are still above us. They were like 4th in the league or something. So we were never going to beat them. I rested far too many players against Norwich in the Cup, threw the game away, my own fault. Probably should have put more effort into winning that. I just rested players because we were doing relatively well in the league and I kind of wanted to slam the brakes on, give people a rest and then go back into the league fresh against Everton. It worked because we beat Everton, but we ended up losing the Cup. So that's, you know, swings and roundabouts. We lost against Liverpool 2-0. We were never going to beat them. We were lucky enough at Anfield. We were never going to beat them or even get a point against them. They were out for blood. Very convincing defeat against Manchester United. They beat us 3-0. Canos, classic, got himself sent off. We smashed Burnley 4-1. I'm pretty sure they rested a fair few players though. And then we lost against Manchester City just last week. The annoying thing about that game is, as you can see on the right-hand side there, Wallace, he got injured very early in that game. He, I think, in the first 20 minutes, picked up a knock. Really, really frustrating because we were playing quite well. We weren't getting chances necessarily, but we were holding them out. We were not dominating midfield, but we had more possession and we were playing well. I had to play a makeshift centre-back. What's his name? Ruslev had to come in as a centre-back, and then Canos had to come off the bench to replace Ruslev out wide. It didn't really work. I didn't have any other centre-backs on the bench because they're all injured or unregistered, and I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, nightmare, to be honest. Really, really disappointing not to come away with a point. We play Spurs in just a second, but I have been making some headway in the January window. We are late into January now, the 22nd. Not that many games in January because of I think this is it's not a World Cup year, it's a World Cup year next year, but there aren't that many games in January in general compared to, well, I suppose there are, but they're just spread out really. There are quite a lot of games. There's 5 games, they're just spread out. Anyway, transfers. Let's go to transfer history. I was going to do them like deal per deal basis, but I've kind of been playing off camera, trying to get the system going and such. If you haven't seen the film Moneyball with Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill, you need to go watch it to completely understand what I'm trying to achieve. It is a sensational film. I've mentioned it before. You need to watch it. I'm not going to try and claim to be the next Brad Pitt in terms of Moneyball, but I'm trying my best to replicate what that film is and to what I've done on FM using that system in the past. So I went out and I bought Simone Bastoni. It rhymes, I like it. I bought him, even though he's primarily a left wing back, I didn't buy him for that position. I bought him to play in the middle. I think he's natural there, but he is normally a left wing back. I think they must have been playing him a little bit more in this role, and that really explains why I've gone for him and why his stats are as good as they are. So we're over here on the stat screen. I went through every single league that I have added, and I have essentially trawled through the stats for the position that I'm looking for. And I've come up with it's not really a point system, but it kind of is at the same time. I allocate points per, I don't know, attribute, if you will, stat, whatever it may be. And I've come up with a sort of minimum point system I'm looking for. And Bastoni was a player that hit that system. Maybe I'll talk about it in the future. It's a bit boring. If you're into like really like hardcore stats, you will find it interesting, but I would imagine that most of you won't. But Simone Bastoni hit an awful lot of the criteria that I'm looking for. And when I clicked on him, I was like, he's primarily a left wing back, but they've been playing him as a central midfield player, and he seems to be working. He got 1.95 key passes per 90 minutes. He hasn't got an assist this season, but he has got a 91% pass completion ratio with a 22% cross completed compared to crosses attempted ratio. And he's played 20 games, which is more than anyone else on this list. And he's still fairly high up this list. It wasn't just, that'll do. I went through everything. Key passes, assists per 90 minutes. Not that he had any. Crosses completed and dribbles attempted and all that kind of thing. He was hitting the majority of the lists. And he qualified. He got enough points. And then on top of that, he wasn't as expensive as I thought he might be. Like I said, 15 million, and with a few add-ons that won't ever really materialise, he was a player that just made sense and hit my sort of Moneyball tactic. The other player that did that was Vincenzo Griffo. I mean, he on paper is fantastic, but I didn't really look at this. I mean, to be fair, I did look at his crossing, and I started looking at things like vision and stuff and thought, well, to be fair, he actually does it really good. But the reason, again, very much like Bastoni, was because he was hitting all of these. Like, there he is straight away at the very top of the list. Key passes over 90 minutes, 3.22 key passes every 90 minutes. 13 matches won this season, only lost 4. What else have we got going on here? Key passes, he's second with an 85% pass accuracy, 27% cross completion rate. Again, he's played 18 games. We can't go after someone like Joshua Kimmich. It just isn't going to happen. So, again, he was hitting everything. But the next signing, and my final signing so far, I'm not ruling out another one before deadline day or before the end of deadline day. This is a Moneyball signing if ever I've seen it. And if you've seen the film, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Because these are sort of a fairly big outlay. 15 million there, rising to 21 potentially. Griffo is 8.25, rising to nearly 10 million. Paul Seguin of a German club that I can't pronounce, he cost me 350,000. Now on paper, yeah, there's nothing wrong with him, but he's not fantastic at all. He doesn't have an awful lot going for him. He's 26 years of age. He's only got 2.5 stars in sort of the role that we want to play him in. He's playing that anchor role, which is down here. And when you highlight the anchor role, it says, look, tackling, 10. Bit dodgy. Marking's only 11. Teamwork's good, to be fair. The rest of it is okay. But he's not amazing. Why are you signing this guy? What has he got that your current players don't already have? It's a very good question. If we go over for the final time, I say for the final time, there is another player that I signed actually that I've just remembered, and the reason I forgot is because he's on international duty, I think in the African Cup of Nations right now. If we go over to player detailed again, and we highlight, we've got defensive midfielders highlighted. But if I go down to, I don't know, it was a very tricky one actually because he fell off after I blocked him. But let's just click this for example. Is he there? He is. He's down the bottom. He's slipping down because obviously he's not in the league anymore, so his appearances are dropping because he's in our league. He's in our team. Paul Seguin had one of the highest interception stats in the league. He also had one of the highest tackles per game in the league. And I think the key tackles as well. Okay, there are a couple of other players with like 2 and 4, but he was on the list as well. And he played 14 games. He's on other lists, but he was really, really cheap. It's almost risk-free. He doesn't want an awful lot in terms of wages. And this is a perfect player to go after in terms of the Moneyball tactic, because he then sits in the midfield in this role right here as an anchor. And even though he doesn't have the stats that you would normally look for, if you show me that player at the start of the save, I wouldn't have bought him, because you're going to be using him as a CDM and he's got 10 tackling. But my current CDM, for example, I've been playing, and I'm not going to not play him anymore. He's just going to be playing in a different role. Sioane, who's also got 10 tackling. Onyeka was the other player who was playing in that role. Where's Onyeka? He's unregistered Onyeka because we're trying to sell him before deadline day. He's got 14 tackling. He was in that role before, and he's not there anymore because of the Moneyball tactic. Is it going to work? I really don't know. This is the system that we're playing. I've seen it very briefly. It looks like a mess. It is a bit of a mess, I won't lie to you. But honestly, I feel like this could work. I haven't tested it against a club that I feel like we should be beating. We play Spurs in just a second, but again, even though they're not doing well this season, I still feel like we probably shouldn't be beating them. And then we play Arsenal, another team we probably shouldn't be beating, and then we're into the fixtures I think we should be getting results in. The other player that I've gone out and signed here is Naef Aguerd of Stade Rennais. He's on international duty. I think he's in the Africa Cup of Nations right now. But he was at the very top of the list for nearly everything in the French league. Again, maybe a player that a lot of people will recognise, especially if you're from FIFA, and a player that I'm sure that a lot of people probably would have signed at the start of the game, or even at this point in time. But he was at the top of tackles, interceptions, blocks, you name it, he is up there. He's having a very good season. So that was the... that's my thought process, if you will. Now, should we play Spurs? So you just saw the setup. Now, I'm not getting rid of any of the signings that I've already made. There are a few players who are on their way out or could have potentially gone by now, and I'll show you those. But like Cedarwald, for example, he will play, and he will play consistently instead of Norgard. However, at the moment, he's just recovering from an injury. I have signed Aguerd, and of course, Wallace will go back into that centre-back position instead of Ethan Pinnock. Aya, I was looking to move forward, but now that we have Paul Seguin, not quite sure how I work that. I'm pretty sure Aya will still probably play instead of Seguin, and I may bring Seguin in every now and again. But while Aguerd is off on international duty, and while Wallace is injured, I want to try and see if this Seguin thing works. And if it does, then this year is another Moneyball potential season, as was a couple of FMs ago where it actually worked as well. For whatever reason, certain players work better in FM, regardless of stats. Bielsa, the manager of Spurs, they have signed a fair few players here or there, using some youth as well. Let's get into it. As you can see, Spurs form, they've only won 2 of their last 5, so with a bit of luck, we might be able to pull off what I would consider to be an upset, to be fair, because even though I feel like we probably should be beating them given the current, not climate, what's the word I'm looking for? The way that they started the season compared to we have. I honestly feel like we're the better team. We're playing better. I said that against several clubs in the last episode and the episode before, and we just didn't do very well. Now that is something I have tried to kick out of our game. I guarantee we concede here. 2 goals we conceded against Everton. The goalkeeper gave away both of them. He is told to roll it out to the centre-backs. And he's also told, or he was told in the past, to take short kicks. Against Everton, he launched it forward twice because he was just panicked. He had options, but he just launched it. Canos down the right, and then they nicked the ball and scored, of course. Can he put the ball into the box? Ben Davis is trying his best to put him off. There is Bastoni, and ladies and gentlemen, new signing has scored his 2nd goal of the season. The way that we are set up tactically is obviously to try and get players down the flanks. I have Griffo on that left, as well as an overlapping left wing back. I don't have that on the right. Reason being, Hadji can play there, but he was isolated. He wasn't getting involved. And I just feel like moving him into the middle as a shadow striker, just behind Ayorke, just made a little bit more sense. And Hadji has got a fair few assists and goals from that position, and he just gets involved a little bit more. So I prefer that. It doesn't look very good on paper, and it's very sort of left heavy, but I honestly think it can work. Griffo down this left-hand side. He is right-footed, I think, into Barisic, who's the overlapping player, and Seguin, who isn't in there to do that, has just launched it over the bar. That is one of the things I think could go against us by using this Moneyball kind of system, is certain players will get into certain positions and their stats will take over and they're just not very good, even though on paper, like there, I mean, is that offside? It looked pretty offside to me. Seguin came back and did really well defending, and then the goalkeeper gave it away, and it is offside. It's massively offside. There's not even a need for VAR there. He was so far offside, even I could tell that. We're going back in. Straight away, no messing. We've got what looks like a corner. Corner tactics set up, of course. Hadji knocks it into the near post, and Pinnock puts it over. In that situation, normally, we have Wallace. In fact, turns out, no, I didn't have Wallace there. Iorque is the player playing the near post for me. Lucas Moura goes down that side. Barisic does really well. We nick the ball. Seguin needs to play it out quicker than that. Does. Bastoni plays it into the middle. He's given it away. They've put a little bit of pressure on us here. Barisic does well once more. Gives it away again. And that's offside again, in my opinion. The linesman has his flag up. How do I know this? Because he's not running back toward the halfway line. The referee comes over as well. That should, in theory, be a second goal ruled out. And it is. I would say we're living life on the edge. I mean, we are, to a certain extent. But, I mean, he's miles offside. I mean, ridiculously offside. Like, embarrassingly that he actually went off and tried to celebrate that, thinking that he was on. But, yeah, honestly, I think we're doing enough. I think we're just panicking at the back a little bit, and we need to maybe cut that out. I might take Seguin off. Saying that, he's playing all right. I think Barisic is the player that needs to come off because he's on a yellow. Don't really trust him. We're not on get stuck in or anything aggressive. Shouldn't really be going through players like we are. We're picking up yellows all over the place. But do we make a sub here? Because Ivan Toney, he's composed, but he's not playing particularly well. Griffo's not playing well. Mbuemo to come in. I'll keep one sub back just in case. Not going to change the system. Could go into more of a defence style, or maybe even... I was about to change it. Hadji with a corner. Pinnock near post. Pinnock again. Shouldn't be anywhere near that. I don't know why he is. Let's go on to cautious. If we concede here, I'm going to have to change it straight away. But, ball played over. It's a very good ball as well. Bergwijn's not really known where that is. Plays it back into Dele Alli. This time, I think it may count. So we're going to have to switch back into a positive. That's annoying. We were 1-0 up. You've seen it. We were doing relatively well. Maybe you could say that we were lucky not to be losing at this point because there are 2 goals disallowed. But, I don't know. Good ball back in. And Dele Alli's just... got there ahead of the defender. We need one of our main centre-backs to come back. Pinnock is just not the guy. 10 minutes left. I have one sub. I mean, don't really know what I can do to sort of change it. Cedarwald could come on instead of Norgard, and I think he will. I might take him off defending and just put him on support. Is it going to do much? I don't know. Let's encourage the team. They liked it. We have a throw-in. Thomas, Bastoni. Thomas keeps it in. Back into Bastoni. This Seguin puts a good ball in. Iorque puts it past the post. Close, but not quite. It's saying, hey, would you like to make this sub? I've made 3 subs. I can't make any more. We're not in Italy. Tanganga with a good ball in. Good defending by Canos. Gets it clear the goalkeeper, but only as far as Rodon. It's going to come back. I mean, we've got 4 minutes of stoppage time, and they are just going to smash this into the back of the net. Oh, okay, well, they're going to carefully caress it into the back of the net, and they're going to make us look stupid. A lot of people will say, hey, you deserve to lose that. But, I don't know, I think a point would have been fair there. It's calm at the back. Dyer to Davis, long ball forward, splits the defence. Dele Alli, composure. Goalkeeper gets some height. To be fair, he's on a trampoline and still can't save it. Dele Alli with 2 goals. Not something that you'd... Ooh, it's close, but he is on. Yeah. Anyway, there we go. We are going to lose again. And there we go. I mean, I'm happy, though. I'm not, obviously. but to a certain extent I am, because Spurs is not a team on paper we should be beating. And the fact that I'm annoyed that we didn't get anything from that game, just, I don't know, it just tells you an awful lot about that story. We're down in 9th, but I'm okay. If you told me at the start of the season after 23 games you'd be 9th, and I think if you told the board that, I think they'd be relatively pleased. Normally I would do 2 games an episode, but as we've had an awful lot to talk about with regards to transfers, I think we're going to call it there. Before we do, though, let's go and have a look at the transfers going out of the club, because obviously Rico Henry and Bidstrup has gone, but we've also sold Marcus Forss to Burnley for 9.25 million. This is how we've afforded a fair few things here. Mads Beck Sorensen went to a club that I can't pronounce, Midtjylland, maybe. 8 million, not bad. I've done a little bit of Liverpool sort of tactic here, really. I've managed to squeeze every single penny out of these deals, and I honestly couldn't tell you how I've managed to do it. We've sold a fair few, like, lesser players down here, like youngsters and stuff as well, just getting their wages gone, getting a couple of quid in from, nothing massive. And I think there's a couple of, is there a couple of loans? I mean, Baptista, you saw, that was in the summer. No, not yet. We are discussing a few players going out. I think, if I get transfers out. So, the Pinnock deal, I rejected it. I didn't really like the look of it. Lewis Gordon's on his way out. Visser could be going as well. That would probably be a loan with a mandatory fee at the end of it. He just doesn't get game time, even though we do play that position now. But he just doesn't play for us. So I think that could be around 5 or 6 million coming our way, depending on which club he accepts, because obviously there's 6 offers on the table. We have a lot of money left to spend here. The wage budget has been increased by the board because I've switched from attempt to avoid relegation to, hey, we are going to avoid relegation. But apart from that, 28 million to spend if we want. Plenty of players that could potentially be going out. Mbemo is another one of those players that could be on his way out as well, and he is currently valued at 46 million, and he's on the transfer list for that, and he's wanted by 13 clubs. I would be surprised if he stays, if I'm honest. He's happy to go. He was the one that set the 46 million, not me. So if I get anywhere near that, I'll be pleased. Oh, look, Canos has got a red card again. Dear God. And there we go. This system will work. I guarantee it. I can't guarantee it. This system, I'm hoping, will work. We just need to get over the hump of all these really difficult teams. Arsenal up next, which we will probably lose, but it's fine. I mean, look at that terrible run of form, but look at the teams we're playing. You can't really bash us for that. And then we go into Newcastle, Southampton, Brighton, Burnley, and Leicester. Every single team there, I will expect to beat. And of course, Luton in the FA Cup. When are we going to come back? If there's any deadline stuff going on, I might do an episode there. But to be honest, I can't really see us signing any more players because we've signed enough. We need to integrate them into the team now. But failing that, we'll probably come back for maybe Brighton and Burnley. Have a nice little episode there with those two, and then we'll kick on and complete the season in the episode after. But that's going to do it today. A lot of talking, I do apologise, and an awful lot of stats and crap thrown at you, but hopefully you enjoyed that. Next episode, 2 games, possibly 3 as normal. If you have enjoyed it though, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and until the next time, goodbye.